right, let's get this show on the road. Welcome everybody to our city planning night. We actually have some public hearings that we need to take care of before we get into city planning commission meeting. We'll do these right in the order that we're on the agenda. Some might take longer than others, but we'll try and work our way through that. So I'm going to call this public hearing to order. In attendance, we do have Commissioners Olson, Gusky, Waller, and Veliker, and Mayor Brian Smith. And then we also have our Public Works Director, who's also a voting member of the Planning Commission, Justin Behrens. We have Juliana Stoles, who is our heads up this Planning Commission, and then our new city administrator, Josh Finch, is with us tonight too to help us. So we have a number of public hearings that we have to go to, so you're going to hear me repeat how we're going to handle these each time. We're going to start with the rezoning of 407 and 415 School Street. This is in the form of an ordinance. This, as I said, this is a public hearing, so we'll just have Juliana just explain what they are proposing to do on 407 and 415 School Street.
For these two addresses, this is from the City of Waupaca for the Parks and Recreation Center at 407 and 415 School Street. The zoning for these two properties is currently the B1 Neighborhood Business District. The future land use map has the left property designated as civic and institutional, looking at page 8 of the packet. And the right property at 415 is designated as medium density residential, though there is an amendment to the city's comprehensive plan pending city council approval to align both as civic and institutional. The submitted application is for the proposed use of government buildings and is requested to rezone to the public facilities and utility lands district, which will align the parcel with the proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan future land use map. If the Plan Commission recommends this for approval, the condition included by staff is that approval of the rezone request would be contingent upon City Council approval of the proposed amendment to the future land use map.
Thank you, Juliana. So at this time, we will take testimony in favor of the rezoning of this property. If you'd like to make comments in favor of the rezoning, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, limit your time to 3 minutes or less. Anybody that would like to give testimony in favor? Is there any testimony in opposition? Any testimony in opposition to the rezoning of the property at 407 and 415 School Street? Hearing none, I'll close this hearing at 5:19. All right, next up, we have Waupaca County, 811 Harding Street. Again, this would be an ordinance. When we say ordinance, that means that it will be recommended to City Council for approval as an ordinance. This, again, 811 Harding Street. Juliana, you want to explain this one?
Yes, this rezone application was submitted in conjunction with the project to expand the county courthouse property. This is a property that has an issue where while the three parcels were merged together, it remained as three separate zoning districts. This has been submitted to align all three, or align the entire property within the public facility and land use, public facility and utility lands district. The current zoning is the B1 neighborhood business district, the R1 single family residential district, and the resource conservation district. And the future land use is civic and institutional. Based upon the proposed use of government buildings, which is a permitted land use in the PUL district, this would then align with the proposed amendment to the future land use map, which will go before the council later this month.
All right. Thank you, Juliana. Again, at this time, then, we will take testimony in favor of this rezone. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to give testimony in favor of this rezoning? Please give your name and address for the record. Limit your time to 3 minutes or less.
Ryan Brown. I reside at E2280 Nancy Lane, Waupaca, Wisconsin. And I am in favor of this. I think it makes nothing but sense for us to finally bring the parcel that our courthouse is on into alignment and in compliance with zoning districts. We've had 3 zoning districts on that, as was already detailed. We have 3 zoning districts that the courthouse is on, not one of which is actually compliant. And so the time is due for us to make this compliant.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Any other testimony in favor of this rezone? If not, is there any testimony in opposition? Any testimony in opposition? I'll declare this public hearing closed at 5:22 p.m. Next on the list is the rezoning of Doddridge L. Brooks Living Trust, Ron Brooks applicant for County Road A at Eastgate Drive. This is also in the form of an ordinance 08-2025. So if this is approved by Planning Commission tonight, it would be, it's only a recommendation to council, and council would act on that at their next meeting. Juliana, you want to respond?
Yes, this application refers to page 24 of the packet. There are no assigned site addresses for the 3 parcels in question. The current zoning is the B4 strip commercial district, and the future land use map currently designates this as community mixed use. There is currently a pending comprehensive plan amendment to designate all 3 parcels as industrial that will be heard by the city council later this month. The proposal is to rezone these 3 parcels to the I2 heavy industrial district with a proposed land use of heavy industrial and heavy manufacturing operations. That is a permitted land use in the I2 district and would align with the proposed future land use map amendment. The city commissioned a feasibility report, the future development and land use feasibility report for the property south of US Highway 10 and east of County Road A. The report recommended that highway adjacent land should be prioritized for light industrial use, and further concluded that heavy industrial use should be designated away from direct highway access due to issues related to congestion and higher space and utility demands. The proposed request to rezone these 3 properties to the I2 heavy industrial district does not align with the report's recommendations. The recommended conditions would include that the approval of the rezone request be contingent upon city council approval of the proposed amendment to the future land use map, and that the property owner would obtain all other necessary zoning and building permits prior to any construction or alterations on those properties.
Thank you, Juliana. Okay, at this time then, we will take testimony in favor of the rezoning of this property. If you would like to give testimony in favor, please step up to the podium, give your name and address, and limit your time to 3 minutes or less.
Ron Brooks, N1757, County A, Waupaca, Wisconsin. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think one of the best measures of socioeconomic growth of a nation, of a state, of a community is the health and status of its public education system. Does anybody know what the capacity of our Waupaca High School is? About 1,200 students. Why in the world would a community this size build a school for 1,200 students? Let's back up 25 years. In 1998, I was part of a committee that built that school. We were told by developers that Highway 10 was going to become a 4-lane highway with 4 access points. We were told that Waupaca was going to become a growth area. It wasn't just likely, it was inevitable, in their words. So we as a committee got busy and planned a school. We had 825 students in this school in 1998. We planned it for 1,200, and quite honestly, our biggest concern was that we weren't building it big enough. Does anybody care to venture a guess as to how many students are in that school today? We'll wait for the crying baby. That's my granddaughter. 620. It's half full, folks. What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. When businesses came to Waupaca, we told them, this is what we have, these are the rules, take it or leave it. And they left. They went to Amherst, they went to Plover, they went to Greenville, they went to Neenah, they went to Hortonville, and those communities instead said, what do you need? How can we help? We have another business knocking at the door. They've been very clear. They've told us what they want. They want proximity to an airport. They want access to a 4-lane highway. They want city utilities. And they want rural industrial heavy zoning. That's the one thing that we have to give them. Now, we can slam the door, or we can open the door and say, what do you need? How can we help? It's time that we start to adapt and adopt. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Any other testimony in favor? Any other testimony in favor of the rezoning of this property? Hearing none, do we have any testimony in opposition? If you do have testimony in opposition, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Limit
Kathy
your
Nickel.
time to
And
3 minutes or
19
less.
And 1991 County Road A, Waupaca. Good evening, Mr. Smith, Mayor Smith and council members. I am a lifelong resident and citizen of Waupaca, and I'm also a landowner, and I have 7 parcels of land on this interchange. Mine are located immediately on the north side of Highway 10 and along that bypass, 2254 bypass that was developed. From the day that interchange and bypass were being planned and designed, us landowners were told that, yes, this would be the gateway to Waupaca. The city wanted to see this develop and be attractive for commercial-type businesses that would welcome others from surrounding communities for shopping, working, hopefully taking up residency in the Waupaca area. The bypass was also a must to take away the heavy traffic of hundreds of semis a day traveling to the Foundry and Industrial Park that were traveling on Churchill Street, and get them away from there, the school area, the residential area, and directed around the city to those 2 locations. Along with that, the TIF district was developed with the intent that we would get this developed, bring in more businesses, and hopefully build our residency of the area. We were, at the time, as landowners, given the option to kind of pick within a reasonable measure what type of zoning we wanted out there. I chose light industrial for the parcels that I own. Mr. Brooks and the family chose the strip commercial. To kind of go with the feasibility study and economic development study that was just done that was requested, I believe, by the city council and was presented at a recent council meeting. Tricia, when presenting that, explained that the findings of the study showed this area as a gateway with high visibility from all angles of the interchange and the highway. Best uses are along that light industrial. Big box commercial, car dealerships, hotels, restaurants, gas marts. Those are things, as landowners, I would love to see out there. I would love a gas mart especially, so we don't have to drive all the way into town for gas and few groceries like we get at Quick Trip. The suggestion for the lighter industrial along any of the frontage areas of the highway, being mindful of noise, odor, soot, and other potential nuisances. I completely disagree with changing this to heavy industrial. I think that opens the doors to so many options that we would be blindly allowing to fall under a permitted status if it had heavy industrial zoning versus a business needing or an endeavor needing a conditional use permit where we would have the option to put some conditions on what is allowed there. I hope the council will follow the recommendations from the study that you had paid for and had already been foreseen 25 years ago, that we make this more of a pleasing area and stick to commercial or light industrial. As chairman of the town of Lynn, I also would have heavy concerns of heavy industrial being in that area with us owning Eastgate Drive, and what would heavy industrial mean for the type of traffic that could be using that road that we would have to be paying for maintenance and upkeep on. And that's all I have at this point, so, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other testimony in opposition? Any other testimony in opposition?
Yeah, name's Dallas Reeds, E39 Nelson Road. I've lived in Lynn Center all my life. I agree with Mr. Brooks. Yes, we should have development in Waupaca, but we have a perfectly good industrial park that doesn't seem to, anybody wants to go in. We also, in that his land out there, we also have a county shop that puts a lot of traffic coming in and out of that road. If someone was to build, let's say, a landfill out there, and they had 20, 30, 40, 50 trucks coming in, all that traffic, plus the county shop and the regular people, the way that road is set up, what are you gonna do? Put another road in access? It would be, almost would seem like it would be a blockage. And across the road at the airport, we have a lot of residential going up there. Depending on the type of business that went up there, soot, smoke, burning unused materials, what is that gonna do to future development of houses coming in on the other side of the road, or future development of houses in that area? So that's what I want at. Thank you.
Thank you. Other testimony in opposition? Any other testimony?
Hi, my name is Scott Arnolduson. We live at N 1811 County Road E. I just want to say, Mr. Brooks, I don't begrudge anything that you've done in the past. I think
Hey,
you have.
Scott, look at us.
Sorry. They've done wonderful things with what they have. However, we, as an audience, I know I can't speak about it directly, but we all know what they're planning to put in there. And I'm not opposed to such a thing on its face. However, I think the planning that was done is not quite up to par yet. At this time, I would recommend the commission not change the zoning on this, just because we need to look at entire life cycles of things that are gonna go in there. You know, it isn't just the construction. What happens afterwards? What happens if things go wrong? We need good fire access there, right? You know, if this thing lights on fire, you need to be able to get fire trucks there. You know, if you have a heavy industry there, even if it isn't what Mr. Brooks is gonna propose to go in there, you know, let's say in, you know, years in the future, you put another foundry in there or something like that. You know, you're gonna need to be able to get fire access to it and get water out there to, you know, fight fires and things. With heavy industrial, you're opening yourselves up to putting in the type of industries that when things go wrong, they're gonna go wrong big. And, you know, we all saw what happened in Waupaca in '96, you know, and the type of industry that could go into this place could produce the same kind of results. So I would strongly recommend against it right now, just because I feel like there hasn't been enough planning into the whole life cycle of what would be proposed to go out there. I think if more planning is done and more contingency plans are in place, then perhaps it would be a good thing to have, but we need to make sure that people are looking at the entire life cycles and contingency plans for what they're proposing out there. As far as traffic and things go, being highway access, that's probably actually a good thing, because then trucks can get right to it. But my biggest concern is just mostly, you know, for what's going to happen over the entire life cycle of whatever you put in there, because, you know, let's say in 40 years, the original thing is gone, and now you've got this heavy industry land. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to put in there? You know, I guess what I'm saying is let's not be short-sighted, okay? That's really what it is. Let's take a moment, take a pause, look at the big picture. Other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Any other testimony in opposition? Any other testimony in opposition? Go ahead.
My name's Robert Van Epps. I live at N2004 East Road, Waupaca, Wisconsin. I am president of the Waupaca Lake Restoration Group, and we've been working on the Waupaca River for about 15 years now, and we've done an awful lot of research on that river. I also was on the county board for 6 years and on the school board when they built the new high school. Just a matter of curiosity, interest there. My concern is I'm not necessarily opposed, but I am concerned about the environmental impact. I've done specific personal research on that river for 2 years collecting water samples. Everything between Amherst and Waupaca is in great shape, but from Waupaca to Waupaca something happened. Because of my activities on the river, the County of Waupaca was able to procure a $1.2 million grant from the U.S. government to study and work on the Waupaca River with the rural community. My concern is where's the environmental impact? This is the first I've been exposed to this. First I knew about it. I'm not as concerned about the operation as I am about the scope of the operation. What about the environment? What about the Waupaca River? Are there safeguards in place to protect that river? The community needs to grow, and I'm all for that. I believe there's many, many ways that can be done. But I would ask for more information if I were you on the environmental impact that's going to have on this area, on the river specifically. I will continue working on that river as long as able. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other testimony in opposition?
Hi, I'm Louis Ebling, 3017 Bags Hill Road. My concerns are similar to his in the environmental impact. That area is heavily wetlands, and there is such a big difference between light industrial and heavy industrial. And we had a fight, you know, out in my area already, so we pretty much know what's been proposed. And so that is a huge environmental concern as far as we're concerned, given the data that we've all read and researched. The other thing that I think a lot of people aren't thinking about, for the city of Waupaca, because the end product is supposed to be energy, which is tax exempt, so it won't be a positive to the coffers of the city of Waupaca.
I'm going to halt you just for a second here,
Okay.
and I appreciate your comments, and I know that, you know, I saw what happened in the town of Lind and the discussion on a digester. We're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about a rezone. We're
Right.
talking about rezoning a property from B4, which it's currently zoned, to industrial 2.
Right.
So let's not talk about a project. Let's talk about whether you agree with the
Well, right,
rezoning
but,
of the
but for what
property.
purpose? What is the purpose of the rezoning?
He's requesting a rezone from B4 to I2. As far as we know, there is no project on that property,
Okay.
okay?
Well, that just seems counterintuitive, but okay. I mean, no, and I understand, nothing is being presented in terms of what the scope of the project is, just the zoning.
Right,
I agree.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
You want to continue?
No, we're good.
Thank you. Any other testimony in opposition? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the committee, thank you for the chance to speak. Name is Robert Gergel, live at N 1155 Akron Road, that's in Dayton, town of Dayton here in Waupaca County. We've owned the property there for 30-some years. It's the only place in all the world that we own presently, and we're happy to be there. Thank you for the privilege to briefly address the meeting. Waupaca. Say that word anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, and you will find almost everybody's response is very positive. The name Waupaca reminds people of a beautiful place with wonderful people and good things to do. The name Waupaca is synonymous with beauty and with blessings. We think of the hills that you come to as you approach from the east or from the west. We think of the beautiful forests and the bountiful fields. And obviously, we think perhaps most of all of the shimmering waters, the sparkling rivers, the jewels of lakes we have, not just the chain, but all the other lakes. Count them up sometime. I haven't. I know there are many. It's a beautiful place. The city of Waupaca, which you represent, is at the heart of Waupaca County. You're the big brother. What you do doesn't just affect you and your income and your plans for the future, whether it's filling a high school or whatever it may be. It affects all the towns around you. It affects all the people that drive through this place every day, countless numbers. You perhaps know them. I couldn't count them. It affects all the people who for more than 100 years have come to Waupaca, for rest, refreshment, relaxation, beauty. That's your strength. That's what makes Waupaca special. You've named other towns, they have their specialties too. Few towns or cities your size have the gem into which you've been planted and have grown. What you do tonight does affect a lot of people. It's very important. More than 500 years ago, a man who since has become very famous said, speaking about the duties of councilmen in Germany, all the town's goods, honor, life, and limbs are entrusted to you, to their faithful hands, and they would not act honestly before God and man if they failed to seek the town's well-being. The town's well-being, the city of Waupaca, the county of Waupaca, influenced by you, its well-being. That should be your focus, in my opinion. Not the income that might be brought in, not the people that might come here to work and send the kids to high school, the well-being of this town, its quality of life. The best thing we have in Waupaca is the quality of life. And the center of that is the beauty of the world created by God in which we live here.
Robert, you're over your 3 minutes. Do you want to just...
Really? I apologize.
Yep. You wanna just
Thank you
finish
for
up?
letting me know. Just to wrap it up. Thank you. A lot of it was introduction, but okay, to wrap it up, sir. Thank you. I'd urge you very strongly. Many people think this is all a done deal. We don't talk about what is proposed for and so forth. It's a done deal. The decision is made. Why don't you prove them wrong? It's not a done deal. A corporation should not be boasting about what it's anticipating. It's a no-brainer, slam dunk. Individuals should not be gloating or boasting about what is anticipated.
Thank you, sir.
Surprise them.
Thank you.
Do what's best for your community.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other testimony in opposition? Any other testimony in opposition? Last call here. Any other testimony in opposition?
Hello, Council. Scott Sweeziak, N1854, Catherine Way. Real quick, brief. I'm a transplant from Milwaukee. I came up here 10 years ago. because of the beauty. I've seen the change of zoning in a big city. I've seen it in a little city. I've seen everything from the tanneries, the smell of the tanneries, all that crazy stuff that goes on in a big city. What drew me here was the beauty of just driving down 10 and seeing that great big silo that's Fleet Farm. That's a cool draw. Mr. Brooks, I'm opposed to the zoning rechange on the fact that changing that draw, that gateway, that first impression to whatever it may be would be a detriment to any further draw growth or anticipation of what we all want. We want to see our city succeed, see better jobs, income show up. Seeing something big and ugly, small and pretty, it doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is create this impression of a place that everybody wants to be. And that's why I'm against the heavy industrial, because we don't know what it's going to be. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Any other testimony in opposition? Any other testimony in opposition? One last time. Any other testimony in opposition? I'll declare this hearing closed at 5:47 p.m. We have a few more public hearing type things that we need to do, and then we're going to go into our regular city planning commission meeting, and at that time the commission will have the discussion on any of the items that we are having in our public hearing tonight. In the same order. All right, next up, we have another rezone. This is for John Piotr, owner, Matt Schwartz, applicant for 702 West Fulton Street. And again, this is in an ordinance number 09/2025. Juliana, you want to explain to us what's going on here?
Yes, this begins on page 37 of the packet for the meeting. The property in question is currently zoned in the B4 Strip Commercial District with the Fulton Street Corridor Overlay District. It is currently designated as community mixed use in the future land use map. There is a pending comprehensive plan amendment to change the adjacent property at 660 Hillcrest Drive from neighborhood mixed use to community mixed use, which will go before the city council next in a couple weeks. The proposal is to rezone this parcel to the B3 General Commercial District to allow for a proposed commercial development in AutoZone that was approved. The site plan submission was approved by the Plan Commission with the proposed conditions on August 6th. The proposed land use would be retail general with less than 10,000 square feet in sales floor area. This use aligns with, it is a permitted land use in the proposed B3 district. And the conditions, if recommended for approval, would be approval of the pending comprehensive plan amendment and the certified survey map that has been submitted to combine the two parcels involved in the proposed project, as well as that all other necessary zoning and building permits will be applied for and received prior to commencing construction.
Thank you, Juliana. You've heard the purpose of the hearing. We will, at this time, take testimony in favor. If there's anybody that'd like to give testimony in favor, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, limit your time to 3 minutes or less. Any testimony in favor of this rezone?
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Alan Ketchpool with Kimley Horn Engineering, 767 Eustis Street, St. Paul, here on behalf of the applicant and the owner. And like I said, we're just simply here tonight. It's been a pleasure working with staff, we've got B2, B3, or B3, B4, looking to combine it to B3, so it's all consistent. So appreciate everything.
All right, Alan, thank you. Any other testimony in favor?
My name is John Piotr. I live at E2460 Larson Road in Waupaca.
I'm the owner of the property, and simply it's combining the two properties, so it's one zoning. I have no problem with it, and I'd like to see it done. That's all I have. Am I over 3 minutes?
No, but you're a comedian. Any other testimony in favor of? Any other testimony? Any other testimony? Hearing none, let's do testimony in opposition. Is there any testimony in opposition to the rezoning of this property? Any testimony in opposition? Any testimony in opposition? Hearing none, I'll declare this hearing closed at 5:51. Next up, we have a rezone for Tycor Built LLC. Alex Rychek, applicant for Huffcut Lane and Huffcut Court. This is ordinance number 10-2025. Juliana, you want to give us the purpose of this one?
Yes. This begins on page 50 of the packet. This refers to the subdivision that is currently in the R3 multifamily residential district. The future land use is for community mixed use. The proposal is to rezone the parcels within the subdivision to the R1 single family residential district. Per the subdivision plat that was completed prior to the beginning of this project, the applicant is required to rezone to the R1 or R2 district to ensure the zoning aligns with the proposed land use and that lots meet the district standards for the minimum lot width. The proposed land use is for single-family dwellings, which aligns with the district standards. The condition, if recommended for approval, is that the property owner shall obtain all other necessary zoning and building permits prior to commencing construction or alterations. For reference, so far, 6 building permits for homes have been applied for and approved for homes within that subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Juliana. I have a question for you, but I'll wait until the regular meeting to ask that question on this. Okay, you've heard the purpose of the public hearing. If you would like to give testimony in favor of this rezone, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, limit your time to 3 minutes or less. I'm going to say that in my sleep tonight, aren't I? Any testimony in favor? Any testimony in favor of this rezone? Hearing none, do we have any testimony in opposition? Any testimony in opposition? I declare this public hearing closed at 5:53 p.m. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm bouncing around here. We have a conditional use permit. This is again for John Piotr's property. Matt Schwartz is the applicant for 702 West Fulton Street and 660 Hillcrest Drive. Juliana, you want to tell us what's going on here?
This conditional use permit was withdrawn. The application was withdrawn based upon further evaluation by staff that the application was not needed because the use is for retail, which is a permitted use within that district, rather than for the service and repair of vehicles.
Okay, so we don't need this one. All right, let's move on then. So we open this hearing, I'll just say we close this hearing at 5:54. One other conditional use permit for the Waupaca Community Arts Board at 515 School Street. Juliana.
This begins on page 61 of the packet for the regular agenda. This refers to the application by the Waupaca Community Arts Board for the property at 515 School Street to renovate the building on the property, which is zoned in the B1 Neighborhood Business District. The future land use is neighborhood mixed use. And the proposed land use is for the Waupaca Community Arts Hub as an institution of educational, philanthropic, or eleemosynary nature, which is a conditional use in the B1 neighborhood business district. That use aligns with the future land use map as it currently stands. If considered for approval, the proposed condition is to obtain all other necessary zoning and building permits prior to commencing construction or alterations.
Okay, thank you. All right, you've heard the purpose of the hearing or of the conditional use permit. If you would like to give testimony in favor, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Limit your time to 3 minutes or less. Any testimony in favor?
Good evening. I'm Laura Reynolds. Thank you for letting me be here and be in front of the council. My address is E1061 Whispering Pines, Waupaca, Wisconsin. I'm one of the co-founders of the Arts Hub, and we are just excited to be working with the city and the community to bring some additional enrichment in the arts. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Any other testimony in favor?
Ron Brooks again, N1757 County A. Thank you, Brian. I fully applaud. I'm on the school board, and we decided to sell that property to the Arts Hub, and I think it's going to be a tremendous asset to the community. So I'm fully in favor of the changes, and good luck.
Thank you, Ron. Any other testimony in favor? Any other testimony in favor? Any testimony in opposition? Any testimony in opposition? Hearing none, I'll declare this hearing closed at 5:57 p.m. That takes care of our public hearings. So let's go into the regular City Planning Commission meeting. Welcome, everybody, to our regular City Planning Commission meeting. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. It is 5:58 p.m., and I will call this meeting to order. In attendance, we have members Mayor Brian Smith as the chairperson, Alderperson Eric Olson, and Alderperson Henry Veliker, Justin Behrens, who is our Director of Public Works, Dana Gusky, and Jake Waller, who are at-large members. Angela Lesage is unable to attend tonight. We do have a quorum. You have an agenda that was sent out to you. You have that in front of you, probably on your screen. We're just looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Gusky, that we approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Next is approval of the Planning Commission minutes from August 6th. We would just, unless you see any changes, we'd be looking for a motion to approve these so we could just place them on file.
So moved.
Motion by Barron, second by Veliker, that we approve of the Planning Commission minutes from August 6th, 2025. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, action items. So now we're kind of back into where we were with the public hearing. It will follow the same order. We have the rezoning in the city of Waupaca on 407 and 415 School Street for ordinance number 06-2025. Commissioners, do you need, Julianne, just real quick, just tell us what it is here.
Yes, this relates to the two properties, including the current rec center property and the property that is part of the expansion that is currently underway. There is already a survey that has been approved to merge the two parcels, and this will make sure that that can proceed by aligning the zoning within the public facilities and utility lands district.
All right, so pretty simple. Again, we're just trying to clean stuff up here with the addition that we're putting on the rec center. Anybody have any questions?
This is recommended to council.
It is, all of these rezonings will be recommended to council because they'll be in an ordinance form. So if you make the motion, you'd be recommending to council.
Well, I would make the motion that we recommend to council the approval of ordinance number 06-2025.
Motion by Olson.
Second.
Second by Waller.
I think Jay got it.
Yep, Waller. That we recommend to council ordinance number 06-2025. Any discussion? I just want to say for the people in the audience, because this will come up a few times tonight, when an ordinance gets recommended from planning commission to city council, it will be acted at the next meeting, which is actually September 16th. We handle that with 2 readings, so the first reading is explained to us on what the ordinance is, and then we do a second reading, which is the next meeting, I think is October 7th. And so this would be approved, if it could be approved as early as October 7th. All right, let's go to the next one. This is rezoned for, we didn't do that? Okay. All right, sorry.
Doing my best.
Is that
Sandy Stibbs over here.
Yeah, Sandy Stibbs. Okay, if I only make one mistake today, that's pretty good.
So we got a motion by Olson, a second by Waller.
Okay, so let's just do a voice vote here. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome.
Next up, rezoning of Waupaca County 811 Harding Street, ordinance number 07-2025. Again, real quick recap.
This is for the county courthouse property to make sure that there is not multiple zoning districts within the same property. And this is tied up with the commercial alteration project for that existing building.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions on this? Again, it seems like it's long overdue and pretty easy to understand here. So again, you would be recommending to council if you approve this. Anybody would like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion by Barron, second by Gusky, that we approve recommending the rezoning of Waupaca County at 811 Harding Street using ordinance number 07-2025. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, next up is the rezoning of Doddridge L. Brooks Living Trust, owners Ron Brooks, applicant, and this is for County Road A and Eastgate Drive, and this is in the form of ordinance number 08-2025. Juliana?
If you refer to page 25 of the packet, you can see the 3 properties under discussion for this application. As mentioned previously, the application is to rezone from the B4 Strip Commercial District to the I2 Heavy Industrial District. The comprehensive plan amendment related to that would align with this application is pending city council approval at the next meeting. And this also relates to the future development and land use feasibility report prepared for the city earlier this year, and its recommendations related to uses for the properties south of US Highway 10 and east of County Road A.
Okay. All right, obviously, we had a lot of input during the public hearing part of this. I know Mr. Brooks is still here. If commissioners, if you have any questions of him, I think that's fine that we open that up if that's the case. This is a discussion that we should have. Anybody want to start the discussion? Henry?
Can we, am I characterizing why we're here at this point? 30 years ago, the city bought a lot of land east of town for our industrial park. We started developing it. We created the TIF. Great Recession hits. Times are tough. We moved from going purely industrial out there to allowing Fox Valley Tech, which was a huge project. I think ABC Computers was a good project, but those weren't typical industrial projects that I think at the time we all thought would come. So the market tells us over time that to build this out, we get interest in housing. And I don't know how much land we have out there, but maybe 50 acres left vacant. The point is we need some more industrial space. We commissioned a study, and I think it was well designed. There was a lot of input. And I think we're at this point, and help me because I'm, part-time here, because this study recommended that we needed to look at a different area for industrial zoning, and that the original vision for out there is not going to come to fruition for us. And so is that a correct characterization? I mean, our study recommended this. Is that correct?
Recommended what, Henry?
That we rezone out here.
Okay. So,
help me out. That's why I'm trying to understand why we're here.
All right. You're just like watching a movie here, everybody knows. So please keep your comments to yourselves. Juliana, do you want to explain? I think you follow what he's saying, and there obviously is different industrial zoning out there. And so do you want to explain that again?
So the recommendations from the report were twofold. On the one hand, the city has initiated the amendment to the comprehensive plan to indicate that the intended use for these properties is industrial. The other piece of this is related to zoning. The recommendations are for highway adjacent land to be designated for light industrial use, particularly for properties from 20 to 40 acres. For non-highway adjacent land, it would be designated for heavier industrial uses. And that relates to estimates based off of need for highway access and any environmental and infrastructure strain that might be created by heavier industrial uses.
And can you answer what's the acreage of these parcels that we're rezoning?
One of them is approximately 4 acres. One of them is approximately 5 acres, and the last one is closer to 20, as I recall.
I thought you said that was 33.
It might be 33. I can pull that up very quickly.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, Henry?
No, not
Anybody
this
else?
time.
I think it's important, and Juliana has that in her report, and we did have a feasibility study done for the same reasons that you even talked about, Henry, that the industrial park was now a residential park because that land sat vacant for most of the years that I've been mayor, so it's been a long time. And so we did lose industrial property out there. We didn't really know what the corridor on Highway 10 would look like. So we hired Tricia Braun to do a feasibility study for us. She made a nice presentation to us. Her recommendation at that time was that there would be some industrial use out there, but it would not be heavy industrial use, but it would be light industrial use. And I think you gave some examples, Juliana, earlier on what light industrial would look like out there. The concept here is that to zone something heavy industrial without having a project that is planned for that property is probably is premature. I would think that, and I'm just giving my personal comments here, if we had a project that was coming forward that thought that this property was heavy industrial, we would probably, in my mind, have take a better look at it. But I would say that we should continue to believe in what our feasibility study was, and that was to be zoned light industrial and not heavy industrial at this time. So that's what I'm getting out of what I've read, what I've learned from the feasibility study, and I think it's like I said, I just think it's too premature to rezone this property to something that doesn't fit within what our feasibility study has brought forward. So. Justin.
I'd like to make just a clarification comment. So this rezone fits our future land use map, which was approved by our council, I imagine years ago, but then it does not fit this feasibility study recommendations by New Day Planning, which was probably more recently adopted by a council.
There is an amendment pending to go before the city council for amending the future land use map to have this designated for industrial use. There's no designation between light industrial or heavy industrial for the future land use map.
Okay. And then the New Day Planning, what was the zoning recommendations for the adjacent properties around this one?
That would be the I-1 light industrial district.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Eric.
So just so I'm clear, the recommendation is to change this to heavy industrial?
The application is to rezone to the heavy industrial district.
Okay, and the study we had, as you pointed out, said that they thought it should be light, right?
That's correct.
I got one more question. So south of 10, that's all B4 currently, correct? With future land shifting that more towards light industrial or I-1. Looks like some others kind of mixed in there as well.
Aside from the county highway department building, which is within the public facility and utility lands district, all of the properties south of Highway 10 within the city limits are zoned within the B4 strip commercial district.
Okay, any other comments?
So what's the major difference between I-1 and I-2? Is that easy to quantify in less than 3 minutes?
Certain uses are permitted or conditional within one zoning district versus the other. So certain project proposals would be allowable in one district that they may not be allowable within another. For example, you could build a motel or hotel within the I-1 district. That's not an allowable use within the I-2 district.
Henry.
So really, if we recommend this, I get confused. I-1 is really light industrial, I-2 is heavy.
Yes.
We're not sealing the door to future business development, but by rezoning potentially, we're opening the door to other options. Could an industry, light industrial, locate in a B4 district? Is that a conditional? You know, could it go the other way? I guess what I'm saying is it opens up more possibilities if we rezone. Potentially.
If I can clarify, it opens up different possibilities.
Different.
Because different uses are permitted or conditional within each of our districts.
The difficult part here is that we hired an outside company to come in and, whether they're right or wrong, tell us what they felt that corridor what would fit best in that corridor. And light industrial was a recommendation for that property. And so without having a project in place, you have to believe that that feasibility study that we asked for and was presented to us is accurate in what we're looking for out there. If we actually had a heavy industrial project that was coming forward for any property out there, yeah, we'd take a look at it and see if that's what fits. But without having a project there, it makes it difficult for me to say, hey, let's jump all the way from B4 to heavy industrial. I'm struggling with that.
Well, and the other thing, Mayor, is, you know, we've got heavy investments out on that east side, and extending to our latest project to the east of the highway opens up a lot more of that corridor than we had just a year ago. So I think we got to be proactive to encourage something going out there to maximize our investment and what we put in the ground out there. Just a comment.
Yeah, no.
And don't forget about that, and we've got to be good stewards of those investments and try to make the best decision here to spur some action out there. I mean, we're going on 20 years of an idea of that interchange being something that is just not is materialized.
Okay.
I'll piggyback on that comment. Like, we have another one rezoned tonight that has an actual project, and I believe this is one of the final steps, is a rezone tonight. So I don't see how the rezone could happen at a different time if needed. And pre-approving this before knowing what's going to happen, that could affect all those other adjacent properties because they're zoned somewhat similar or somewhat different from heavy industrial. What does that do to those properties? So that's the part that's a big unknown for me.
Okay. Anybody else? Henry, go
I'm
ahead.
not a land use attorney. Isn't there some change in our state laws and stuff that, you know, if a project comes forward and it's given by right in a district and it meets all the conditions in the statutes, we have no authority to really say no. So there might be some maybe approach we should all take on Justin's point. Don't rezone until we actually have a project. Just have it as a standing kind of approach. We have a study that indicates we should go this way a little bit with it.
I was just asking some.
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry. I was actually asking how to handle this part of it. Thank you, Henry. Anybody else have any other comments?
So if we vote to rezone this as heavy industrial and they want to bring a project in there, do we have any say on what can go in there, or can a project go in there without us having anything to do with it?
Juliana, that's your question.
A site plan review would be required, and depending on the proposed use, a conditional use permit may be required. And if not a conditional use, then a change of use. And they would be required to meet the zoning code requirements as well as our commercial building code.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right, so on the agenda, let me get back to it here, sorry. So this would be a recommendation to council, ordinance number 08-2025. You have options here. You can recommend to council ordinance number 08-2025. You can recommend not to move ordinance 08-2025 to council, which is basically denying it, or you can just table the request at this time. So I'll leave that up to you, commissioners. If anybody wants to make a motion, but there should be some form of motion made.
What would a table do?
Table would just mean that, yeah, it would just be postponed to a different date, maybe when there is a project that's there. Although even if you deny it, they could still come back and request it. So tabling it and denying it are the same thing.
Is there a difference with tabling it versus denying as far as the application fees?
I would need to look into that question.
Okay.
I would say there is. So I would say that if you're concerned about the application fees, you would table it versus deny it.
I don't know if
Say that out loud so they can.
You cannot keep it tabled indefinitely. There does need to eventually be a decision made. The time frame of that is somewhat gray, if you will, but at the same token, you do want to just relatively make a decision to be able to move forward in whatever fashion.
Mayor, again, the request is to go I-2.
I-2, from
Which is
B4 to I-2. Does anybody want to hear from Ron? Ron, go ahead, if you want to. You got to stand at the, it is your property, so certainly is.
Perhaps I could clarify. And to your point, Mr. Mayor, I understand the hesitancy. Without a project in hand, as you well know, we have had a group approach us. You're aware of that. I'm aware of that. And their offer, their interest is contingent upon this zoning. If they don't get this zoning, they are going to look somewhere else. So it's a bit of a chicken and an egg. If we want to attract groups like this group that's looking at this property, they're not interested unless they have the zoning up front. So again, I would hope you'd understand that. And we've sat on this property trying to develop it as strip commercial for over 20 years. And as Henry said, we haven't had any traction. So with all the money we've spent on infrastructure on TIF 8 out there, we have a due diligence to utilize that, and we have an offer on the table. And I think that's about all we can expect. If we sit and wait until the ultimate project comes along, we'll be waiting a long, long time.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Could you stay there? I don't know anything about this project. Maybe a bunch of the people here do, but is there a reason for the shroud of secrecy? Because it's tough for me to vote in favor of this without knowing. I feel like I'm voting for something that I have I know nothing about.
I don't know that I'm entitled to speak on it. I do know that it is titled Project Falcon.
So we are discussing this any longer is putting that project in jeopardy. And so I would suggest that we table this until we know more. So I would ask the commissioners to recommend to council that we table this request for a rezone in the form of ordinance number 08/2025.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Belcher, a second by Olson, that we table the request for the rezone of the Brooks property in the form of ordinance number 08/2025. Any further discussion?
Do we have to put a time frame on it?
Yeah.
Are you okay just adding 1 month to that?
To the next plan commission
Yeah,
meeting?
next planning commission. Okay. All right. Okay, so it's for 1 month. Everybody, commissioners, you understand the motion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, say no. Motion carried, so it's tabled.
Who motioned, who made a second?
Henry motioned, Eric
Second.
second.
Okay.
There, now we're even. Okay, we have a bunch of other items that are going on tonight. I'm not offended if you guys if you want to stay, you certainly can stay for the rest of the night. Please leave quietly though, so that we can continue our meeting. I appreciate that. All right, let's go on. This is action item D. This is a rezone for John and Carol Piotr, or John Piotr, owner, Matt Schwartz applicant for 702 West Fulton Street. And this is in the form of ordinance 09/2025. Juliana, you want to just recap this for us quick?
Yes, this is for 702 West Fulton Street to rezone that property to be in the B3 district, to be in alignment with the adjacent property, which will be merged to support a proposed development for an AutoZone store at that location.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any comments on this? There was a public hearing. We had two that were in favor of the rezone. No opposition to the rezoning of that property. It's just basically combining parcels so that AutoZone can put their footprint on there. And this is just one step in getting to that part.
Make a motion, we recommend to council ordinance 09/2025
Second.
as presented.
Motion by Veliker, second by Olson to approve or recommend to council ordinance number 09-2025. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Next up, we have rezoning for the Tycor Built LLC is the owner. Alex Rychek is the applicant. And this is for Huffcut Lane and Huffcut Court. And again, we're recommending this ordinance to council. It's ordinance number 2025. Sorry.
This refers to page 53 of the packet. The subdivision plat required in its terms that the parcels within that subdivision would be rezoned from the R3 multifamily residential district to either the R1 or R2 districts.
Okay, pretty simple. This is our new project out there. The only question I had, and I think maybe Justin explained it to me, but I was a little confused by, we have one road and it's called Huffcut Lane and Huffcut Court. So I'm a little confused by why it says that.
The designation is east of Lewinsky is a cul-de-sac. So we typically call those courts, indicating that there is no outlet that direction. So west of Lewinsky will have a future connection with the next phases. So it'll be it's a lane, I believe. So you have have more than one way in and out.
Okay. Makes
Clear as mud.
almost. Yeah, I guess that's a little unusual that you would have that. Okay, so again, this is just when we changed from industrial out there, I think we zoned it R3, and then we have this residential project going on. Actually, you'll probably talk about this later, but we got, 6 basements in?
Exactly.
6 basements in, so they're going to town on that. All right, again, this is pretty clear cut. It'd be a recommendation to council of ordinance number 10-2025.
Moved. Second.
Motion by Gusky, second by Olson, that we recommend to council ordinance number 10-2025. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. We're getting to you, Marcy. Conditional use permit, Waupaca Community Arts Board, 515 School Street. Juliana.
This is a conditional use permit for the Waupaca Arts Hub. The proposed use for the property is listed as a conditional use in our zoning ordinances, and thus required an additional permit process to demonstrate compliance with all of the requirements and conditions per our zoning. And there's additional information provided in the report about what should go into consideration of the conditional use permit, including the information provided as part of the application, which is in your packet.
All right, thank you. And this was part of the public hearing earlier, too. We only had one individual that spoke in favor of it, none that were in opposition. Again, I think this is fairly clear cut and just another step in them getting their project up to speed here. So we'd be looking for a motion. This is just conditional use permits are approved at the planning commission level, so you would just be approving this. Anybody?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Waller, that we approve the conditional use permit for Waupaca Community Arts Board Incorporated at 515 School Street. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, good luck. Sure we'll see you again. All right, going beyond all the public hearings we had tonight, we have ordinance number 12-2025.
This amendment is related to the minor repairs clause of our building code. It is to increase the ceiling for the building inspector to waive a permit application. It is increasing from $500 to $2,500, $2,500 under the proposed amendment. We have also added language to clarify how that should be calculated, which is the market value of materials and labor, and that written authorization from the building inspector must be procured, and then they are no longer required to submit a building permit application.
Okay. So, again, this is just keeping up with times, something that cost $50 or $500 costs 5 times that at least now. So we're just trying to stay up with the times and to actually also reduce our building inspector's times that he has to spend on this, and he can spend it on more important projects than just minor repairs. It just a side note here, real quick, that, people that live in the city of Waupaca, how many of you know that when you replace your front door that you have to get a permit to do that? So, all right. So, all right. Any questions on that? We would be recommending this ordinance to City Council.
By the way, how do you know I need a front door? I'll make a motion to recommend approval of, is it 2011 or 2012?
It's 1225.
12, excuse me,
Yep.
12-2025.
Motion by Veliker,
Second.
second by Gusky, that we approve ordinance number, or recommend to council ordinance number 12-2025. This is amendment to chapter 14.05, parent 9 of minor repairs. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. We're getting there. Under reports, we have reports.
Yes, we continue to have quite a bit of activity within the community, including the River North subdivision, as previously mentioned. We have the foundations in for the first 6 homes, which is that first phase. For the multifamily development with 4 buildings in the first phase, we have approved state plans submitted to our office for the first 3 of those 4. So as soon as we get the 4th state approved plans, then our office will continue to review, and once payment is received, release those permits and get to work.
Their plan is still to put more than, they already have a shovel in the ground there, but start building upwards, right, this year yet?
Yes, that is still their plan.
Okay.
We also have the duplex at 318 Mill Street, where we have a foundation in for that project as well. That's one where we have where we sold city property for that purpose. And we also have a number of projects in the works at the airport, that some of which will be coming before the Plan Commission beginning as early as next month potentially, but others will be coming later this fall. We're also working in tandem with that to standardize our approach when it comes to other zoning requirements and thinking about longer term needs on the airport property to support this extensive amount of development that is expected within the next year or 2.
Okay. Anybody have any questions of Juliana?
The foundation that's going on in Mill Street, is that a residence?
That's a duplex.
Or a duplex?
Yes.
I think it's that father and son out of Amherst, I think they were.
No, this is.
Just a single developer, Jeremiah Parker.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a project, maybe I'll be wrong. I think he's doing a project out by the airport too, isn't he? Pretty sure. No, that's a different guy too? Okay.
Is there a reason that they're not putting in a basement?
Yeah, I asked the same question, and so.
Basements are kind of going out, I guess, huh?
Yeah, well, it's less expensive.
Yeah.
To do it without a basement. But we do not have a requirement in our.
I just
city.
wasn't sure if there was a problem with the site. They just elected not to put a basement.
I think so.
It still meets building code. As long as they do certain things.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions of Juliana? This is like her second meeting running this. She's doing pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I would say.
Hey, I got a question. The one apartment complex, do we know when that's gonna start? Think that's gonna be completed?
On Division Street,
Yeah.
the Schwulke property, we have seen the leasing signs go out for that one in recent weeks. So I've continued to see people out there finishing up the siding.
Yeah. I see it all too. I just was curious. I thought maybe they were gonna try and be in, by July or August, and now we're in September.
Right. I believe there were some matters with his partner that delayed that for a time, but I believe everything's continuing
looking
apace
close.
at this point. Yes.
October 1st is the date that we were told a while back, but I don't think October 1st is going to be it either.
That's pretty.
They're doing their sprinkler test next Friday, so they're getting
They're
they're
getting
close.
close.
I mean, they're getting there.
Okay. Sounds great. Anybody else have anything for the good of the meeting? Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Gusky, second by Olson that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Why would you? Motion carried. We're adjourned at 6:41 PM. Have a great night, everybody. Be safe. Go Brewers.